Hey everybody, it's episode 313 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It's Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. I'm Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
I've been better.
You know, I'm doing.
I mean, those are all fair things to say.
How are you doing, Cobb? No one ever really asked you how you doing.
I'm tired today. It was a long day.
Yeah. I actually got 30-something minutes overtime today. Which...
Nice. I don't get overtime, but I had to go on site today, and then when I got home, I got an escalation where I had to create 286 contacts in somebody's Active Directory.
That's fun.
No, it was fucking terrible.
Well, that's fun was sarcastic.
No, I know that, but I just had to reiterate it was fucking terrible.
I got an email from my supervisor at like 1:36 saying, "Hey, we're gonna send work over soon." 45 minutes later, we got the work that lasted 2 minutes, and then didn't get an email until 4:45. Hey, we have like 200 things that we need to work on. Does anybody want to stay late? But I sat there from 1 o'clock after lunch until 5 o'clock doing basically nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all.
Yeah.
So I guess just to get things actually going, I'm going to do my bi-yearly reminder that Summer Games Done Quick is happening right now. It's running till August 23rd, so that's this Sunday. They're raising money for Doctors Without Borders.
Nice.
And it's always fun. And this year everything's online. They don't have like a centralized place they're doing it. So
it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, so I think they actually have some people from like outside of the US that wouldn't normally be able to make it to the actual show that are doing runs, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
There's been some neat ones too. Like I was talking to you guys, there was a Zelda 2 like reverse boss order run.
I watched
apparently
that. It was broken as fuck.
Yeah, so Rich, because you semi-recently played Zelda 2, so the way it ends up working is they go to one of the villages, like right away, and there's like a woman that's like walking back and forth in front of a house, and you basically have to like chat block her at these like very precise pixels like 3 times, and then it breaks the game so that you can, when you go into a door, you go into like a glitched world, and it makes it so every time you go to the left, it like reloads things and it breaks the way it scrolls.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can very easily get to parts of the game that you're not supposed to. Like, it doesn't break it in like a way where like fights aren't fights anymore.
Yeah.
But you can kind of go wherever you want to. Like, they went and got the hammer right away.
Okay.
And then it actually made some of the levels harder because the maps didn't load correctly all the time.
Yeah.
So you ended up in these situations where like you couldn't necessarily tell if there was like a bridge someplace or if it was just going to be lava.
Yeah.
So like the person running it just had to try and like, well, not even try. Like they just had to know. They had to know where to walk and when to jump.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds nuts and ridiculous. Zelda 2 sucks.
I mean, they did it without any problem.
They've probably done it a million times and practiced it and know how, like, know when to jump, absolutely when to jump and shit like that. I'm not going to dedicate that much time to it. I'm never going to beat that game because
I believe that.
The ending, the only way I think I'd be able to beat that game is if I go and grind to get max lives. But I don't want to spend that amount of time to do that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, they didn't really upgrade, like, health or lives or anything. They just, when they had an upgrade, it usually went to attack.
Yeah.
But other than the Zelda 2, there was like a Demon Soul run that took them under an hour to run Demon Souls, which was neat.
Damn.
Okay.
New Ghostbusters on the NES was a fun one, because I've never seen that game before, but when it plays through the most of, like, the movie in a lot of ways. But one player, there are 2 characters on the screen the whole time. So you pick one of the 4 Ghostbusters, and then I don't know if he's a playable option up front, but then you pick a secondary character to, like, be with you, like an AI-controlled one, and you can pick Lewis, Rick Moranis' character.
Okay.
So, like, this player, it was, donation incentives. He played as Winston, and Lewis was his secondary, and the secondary basically, like, follows you, and is responsible for throwing the traps. Like, you have no control over them. Just when you catch a ghost and you've done enough damage with the beam, they automatically trap them.
Okay.
But it's also a NES game with shitty AI, so occasionally, like, the AI just gets lost.
Yeah.
There was a Witcher 3 speedrun that was cool. Apparently in The Witcher, there's something that happens if you zoom in with the crossbow and then like cancel it out somehow. The game doesn't do its speed check right. So, have you guys played Witcher 3?
No.
No.
So in Witcher 3, when you get the crossbow, when you zoom in, it sort of slows everything down. But like it slows everything so that when you do this and like do like the cancel they were doing, it actually just makes Geralt super fast afterwards.
Okay.
So he doesn't need the horse anymore. So they use the horse for maybe 10 minutes of the run and then just like run super fast through the rest of the game. Like looks like Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was neat. And then the only other two ones that were really like notable that I watched were there were back-to-back Bloodstained Curse of the Moon and Ritual of the Night runs.
Okay.
Which are just neat because like watching people go through like Castlevania style games, especially like the older school style, like Curse of the Moon, where there's bounce back when you get hit and like health is limited. Like Curse of the Moon's better about giving health than like classic Castlevania was, but it's still one of those like they purposely just take hits a lot. And in that particular run, it was like I think it was like a low percent or something like that. So they didn't recruit any of the additional characters. It was just the base character, and he didn't get any of the power-ups.
Okay.
Or like additional health, because the way Curse of the Moon works is after you beat the first three bosses, each one unlocks one of the other playable characters, and you basically have three choices there. You can either recruit them and they become a playable character, you can sacrifice them and gain like a special ability from them, or you can just go off the screen and ignore them entirely and nothing happens.
Okay.
So they did that the whole time and beat the game in like an hour-ish.
That's not bad.
Yeah. And then the Ritual of the Night was basically like watching a, what's the Castlevania game that was based on? Symphony of the Night. Like watching a Symphony of the Night speedrun, because it's all just like the backwards dash sort of thing where like they dash cancel themselves and just zip through a level.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always cool. Like, that stuff is fun to watch and it's for a good cause. And usually, like, if the runner doesn't have, like, good commentary, they usually have somebody with them good commentary.
Yeah. It's a shame I'm not big into watching and doing speedruns. Otherwise, I would probably watch these more often. But I'm just like, speedruns themselves, unless they're, like, 100% or, like, full game speedruns, glitch-free speedruns, I don't really care for it.
So,
I mean, I find the glitch stuff kind of really interesting because, like, it's not using an outside program to glitch the game. It's these people having found things within the game that just break it in unintended ways that are usually pretty cool.
Yeah.
and like there's two different things there too. Like, you have like your glitchless runs that more often than not, like, they use some sort of exploit. Like, they're not breaking anything, but like, they found a path in the game that maybe like enemies don't spawn or don't draw aggro, or that you can jump off of something and like land on like the next level without getting hurt. And then you have like the glitched ones where like the glitchless speedrun is maybe like a 2-hour run, and then the glitched version is 15 minutes. And like, those are fun to watch just once to see how they happen. But a lot of times, like, watching just the streamers do speedruns on their own, like when they're just trying to get their records and all, isn't as fun. Because a lot of times, like, especially if they're trying to get any sort of like a player best or a world record, you know, it's hours of streaming and it's tons of just them resetting the game. And they're usually not talking a whole bunch because they're focusing, because, you know, most of these games, like, it's seconds between like the world record and like what a lot of people like can achieve, especially like the top people.
Yeah.
The thing that's cool with like the games done quick is nobody is there trying to hit a record. Like, they all actually overestimate from like what their personal best is as like I can definitely beat this game in this amount of time, even if I fuck up a few things. Because a lot of times it's
because they're doing it as the like marathon safe route where it shouldn't cause a game over that's going to kill a bunch of time or do some sort of glitch that's going to potentially break the game. So they're usually not going for world record paces because they can't quite always use a lot of those strategies.
And they can't reset if something goes wrong because they have like that allotted time.
Yeah.
But because they're doing that like specific route and they're not trying to do anything, and a lot of times they have extra people to like commentate, you kind of get you get like, backstory, I guess is the best way to put it, about like what they're doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, what like doing it a different way might do. Like they'll flat out tell you sometimes it's like, well, we're going to try and do this thing. And if that doesn't work, we're just going to have to go this way instead. And sometimes they hit it right away. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've seen, a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time speedrun. And like the first thing they said is, we're playing the Japanese version because the text flies by faster. I'm like, that's interesting, but okay. And then they're like, well, we have to do this specifically to jump through this. I'm like, this is... Just play the game and see how fast you can beat it.
I mean, there are plenty of 100% runs.
Yeah.
You could go, like, not... and I do like watching some 100% runs of stuff. Like, especially, like, the Mario games. Because even at, like, 100% runs, like, people are insane. And some of them are, like, less than an hour.
Yeah.
For, like, Mario 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, the shorter the game, the shorter the run, the more interesting it tends to be. Like, I don't want to watch a 6-hour, like, Ocarina of Time, like, 100% run. Because that's 6 hours of Ocarina of Time where, like, odds are there's just gonna be a lot of time where, like, the person's not doing anything. They're very meticulously going around and hitting every point they need to get everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you watch, like, these, like, glitchless, like, low percent, like Super Nintendo games where, like, we, as kids, we couldn't get through the first 3 levels, and then these people they find all these, like, exact little ways to get through things, and, like, beat it in 20 minutes, and it's like, that's insane. Like,
yeah.
They didn't break anything, they just know exactly what to do to get through it in, like, the perfect pacing.
There's some good videos on this one channel, Summoning Salt, on YouTube, that talk about, like, the progression of world records for different speedruns, and all the little different things that people have found throughout the years to, like, just save those couple seconds, or even, like, hundredths of a second to get the world record in whatever game.
Yeah, and it's always crazy, like, when, especially when you're watching, like, the ones where people are explaining what they're doing, and it's not just somebody going for the record. Mm-hmm. It's like, how did somebody figure that out? How did you figure out, like, there was a Donkey Kong Country 2 run yesterday that apparently if you do a thing, it makes, like, one of the signs move. Sure. And if the sign moves, you can then use the rhino past the point that you're not supposed to be able to use him. And that makes it so that you can actually bounce off of all the bees to get to the end of the level quicker instead of having to slowly jump from balloon to balloon. And it's just like, how did somebody how was that a thing that somebody figured out? Like, that's not a thing that you just look at the code and be like, oh, if we just move this sign by, like, jumping on it, it'll let this happen. Like,
it's somebody accidentally did it and then tried to replicate it and tried that so many millions of times until they actually got it right.
I mean, that is true. It's just, like, I get it when, like, people find, like, little exploits in the code. Yeah. But, like, some of those things where it's, like, these very intricate, like, yeah, you have to do this, and this in this particular order. It's pixel perfect. It's like, how did you figure that out? Like,
yeah. Like, it takes skill, and I'm not trying to minimize the skill that's behind this. I'm just like, I don't find it that entertaining.
I mean, it's way more entertaining than watching Friends for the 95th time.
I mean, yeah, it probably is.
That's true. You do watch the same sitcoms over and over, don't you?
The Office, ever.
I would counter-argue that it's not. The Office is always entertaining.
I don't know. Maybe the British Office.
I've never watched the British Office, so I have no words on that.
Okay, then. So, enough of the speedrun talk. You guys got to play Pathfinder Kingmaker Definitive Edition that just came out, yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yeah, release day was yesterday on PlayStation and Xbox One. It was originally released back in 2018 on PC.
Mm-hmm.
But this edition includes all 6 DLCs. It was developed by Owlcat, published by Deep Silver. It's like the best way to put it, it's like the old Baldur's Gate games, right, Drew?
Yeah, or the Dragon Age games recently, but more the Baldur's Gate camera angle, that top down isometric camera angle.
Yeah,
but it does have the ability to play it in a turn-based mode as well.
Yeah, which that's the mode I generally play on, is turn-based.
Same. As soon as they brought that up in the tutorial area, I was like, oh yeah, no, I like this better.
So it's real-time combat or turn-based, and obviously real-time, the characters just move with however they would, and you can, like, command them, but jumping from character to character is kind of a pain in the ass.
Agreed.
So, like, I prefer to do real-time, unless it's, like, a singular or a few just basic-ass enemies that, like, I don't need to use abilities for anyway, then I'll just jump into...
Or you mean you like to use turn-based?
I like to use turn-based unless there's some basic, normal, easy enemies. Then I'll click to real-time and just let it go. Because when you're fighting things in real-time, I tend to get killed more so than if I'm playing in turn-based.
I can imagine you lose track of characters, what's been happening with them.
Yeah, well, the issue is, since this is a PC game, I'm sure it'd be a lot easier on PC than it is on controller, but to switch characters, you have to hit L2, right? Yeah, hit L2 and it pops up your character menu, and then flip left or right on the D-pad or the stick to pick your character, then press X. All the while you're doing this, the game is still playing.
Going, yeah.
Now, you can pause, hit C to pause it, switch to character, pick the ability, or you can pick all the abilities, you can pause it, pick all the abilities, and unpause. But at that point, why not just do turn-based?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, it's got some cool concepts, and I feel like I would like this game a lot more if I had it on the PC over on the PS4.
Potentially. I mean, it was built for a PC, so it probably...
Yeah.
The UI probably makes a little more sense on a PC, though I think they've done a pretty good job on consoles. Like,
yeah, porting it over, I think they did a good job, but I can feel that disconnect with, like, the feeling of, I kind of wish I just had a pointer, or like a mouse. They have a pointer option in the game, but it's not enough. Like, I kind of wish I had a mouse and keyboard to move the camera and click everywhere I'm going or whatever.
Yeah, because the cursor, when you do turn it on, is kind of slow, as they kind of usually are anytime those exist on a console game.
Yeah. I do wish, one thing I wish they had was a way to speed up the gameplay. Because even in real-time mode, like, combats do take a while, but in turn-based combat, just moving, your characters move so slow.
Yeah, that would be useful at times, for sure.
Yeah, so if, like, you could just speed up combat and combat actions, that'd be pretty sweet. But overall, I did enjoy it, however much I could play it, because it kept crashing on me.
I have fortunately not... Well, I ran into one soft lock one time. I have not had it crash on me.
What do you mean by soft lock?
I couldn't... The game was still running, but I could not actually issue any commands or anything.
I ran into that, and I had to... all I had to do was exit out the game and then reload.
Yeah, that's...
Not exit out the full game, just exit to main menu and reload. But I had that happen to me, but... I don't know if you went and did this quest, but if you go... down by the old cypress tree at the bottom of the map, and you go in and there's like a dungeon to go into that, to fight a bunch of spiders and kobolds.
Okay.
I went in there, and as I was walking to there, the game crashed. I entered into there, the game crashed. I entered into there again, the game ran fine. I then played for an hour inside this dungeon, meticulously killing everything, because that's how I play games like this. And I cleared the dungeon after an hour and a half, and had no healing items. All my abilities were used. But I went to leave, and it crashed again. So I loaded it up, and the last time it auto-saved was all the way back at the beginning of the dungeon, which...
Ouch.
I wasn't expecting to have to... that there to be a crash. So I wasn't saving. But after that, I started saving a lot more. It crashed about 2 or 3 more times. One of them was after I had cleared the dungeon and went to leave again, it crashed. But that was also before I downloaded the day one patch.
I was about to say, there was also a day one patch that I don't...
Which was almost as big as the game itself.
Oh, wow.
It took my system about an hour to download.
That could also be wonky PlayStation, how Sony handles the patching stuff sometimes is dumb.
I don't know actually how big the game is, but I think it was 17, 18 gigs of a day one patch.
I saw the patch notes, and there was a lot in the patch, so yeah. I'm not too surprised.
So, that might have fixed that. So I'm not, trying to down the game and bash it, it crashes too much. I had a review copy. I didn't get the patch before I tried this, obviously, because patch didn't come out till yesterday. Mm-hmm. But overall, I did have a good experience. The dice roll system kind of does suck, but that's Pathfinder and D&D for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get shitty rolls. I have a character who has... I use bow and arrow, crossbows is what I'm going to actually use, because no one ever uses crossbows, and they're freaking awesome.
Are you playing a ranger?
I am playing, yes, a ranger. But I think the subclass is pirate.
Okay,
whatever the pirate ranger is.
I did the flame warden ranger.
Okay, yeah, I went with pirate ranger. Yeah, I like it. The one thing that kind of confuses me is how the rage skill works as a barbarian. I don't know if it's turn-based, hit-based, or use-based, because I've had it drop each way.
Yeah, I haven't really looked at it and figured that out. I've noticed, I'll start the battle, and the number in the corner for the number of uses is at 9, and then, a few turns later, it's down at 5, and I'm like, what happened?
The Bard's Inspire Courage, she'll have, 13, and I had 13, and I use it, and during the entire fight, it doesn't drop, and then 2 fights later, it dropped from 13 to 11, and then from 11 to 0. I'm like, so every time they got hit, they had to recast it, or did it drop it? So, there are things that I need to dive deeper into it, and I only got, maybe 5, 6, 7 hours in because of all the crashes. I can't really say too much about the story or the DLC because I couldn't get to it.
Yeah, same. I probably actually only have about, 4 hours into it. So
yeah.
Wound up doing a lot of housework over the weekend.
Yeah.
So.
I also had to spread my time between that and the Avengers beta, so it's, I had to, dedicate time for both of them. Yeah, check it out. It just came out on PS4 and Xbox One. If you have a PC, I think my PC could play it. I don't think it requires a lot.
It doesn't seem like it would be something.
Yeah, I think my PC, which is pretty old, 11 years old, should be able to play this game. So check it out on PC. I think it's on Steam, because everything's on Steam. And if you like those old school Baldur's Gate or kind of Baldur's Gate art style, Dragon Age gameplay style games, you'll probably enjoy this. And if you like the lore of Pathfinder or D&D in general, or the dice roll system of D&D, you might like this game.
Yeah.
Any questions, Cobb?
No, not really. Those games aren't necessarily my style. I don't dislike the Baldur's Gate games, but I also never really felt compelled to play them.
Well, I played the original Baldur's Gate back forever ago, and I can't remember if there was a dice roll system in the background for that.
Oh, there is.
There was.
Yeah, it's
okay.
D&D 3rd edition.
Okay, so, I remember liking that a lot, but that one was a hell of a lot more open than this. Well, this game's pretty open, but not as open. Baldur's Gate was a lot more open, and that was back in the 90s. But this has 6 expansions, so maybe it opens up more. Who knows?
That's true.
I didn't even get... There's base building and kingdom building. You have to recruit people to be, your heads of council and stuff. I never got to do any of that. That's how little I was actually able to play. And it's mostly because of the crashes. When it crashed after I lost an hour of play, I didn't touch the game for a day and a half.
Yeah, that I understand that feeling.
And when it crashed last night, after I tried to leave that same dungeon that I've been in for 3 days, when it crashed again, that for the second or third time that night, I was just I'm done. I can't. I just can't. So I'm definitely gonna like get more into it after I beat other things that I have. After I beat Paper Mario, I probably get more into it. Hopefully before Avengers comes out. And it is a fun game.
Yeah, I've definitely been enjoying it.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problems and all aside.
Yeah. And like I said, my problems were probably just because I didn't get the patch.
Well, maybe you should start looking for patches from now on.
There were no patches.
The patch didn't come out.
Yeah,
No, I know. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the patch didn't come out till yesterday, so there's nothing I could do about it. But
Anything else you guys want to say about Pathfinder?
Not right now. Right now, the early part of the game is, that combat. Once I get into the part where you have the kingdom you're starting to build, is where I'll have kind of more to say about it, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I get more into the meat and potatoes of the game, like, my current quest line right now is, like, you have 80 days to finish this.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of an interesting thing about it, is you have a set limit on in-game time to complete the main quest. Because there's another group that has been sent out that is also trying to complete that quest.
But you also have, like, quests to go and stop that other group, because, Drew, you haven't gotten to it. Spoilers. Eventually, when you get to the cypress tree and talk to one of the guys, they come to you and it's like, oh, by the way, we found out that he was the assassin's contact, so you're off the hook, and if you can help us find him, you're all good. And so, like, then it takes away the time frame for that, but the queen herself still wants it. Like it says in the quest, the queen wants this done in 90 days or whatever. Yeah. But anyway, how about this Epic versus Apple?
So, and Android.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly Epic and Apple kind of hating each other at the moment. So have you guys seen much of this?
Not really, because fuck Fortnite.
Yeah, I think we covered a little bit of it last week. I can't fully remember where Apple was taking Fortnite out of the store because they did a workaround on.
So last week we talked about the fact that Apple was blocking xCloud and Stadia because of App Store guideline. We talked about Fortnite being removed from the store in group chat, not actually on the show. So basically what's happening, Epic seems to be like trying to fill like a Robin Hood role in a weird way. Cause this is not the first time that they've gone after like the larger companies that kind of have shitty, percentages for what they make compared to the people that are actually doing the work. Cause they do a similar thing with the Epic Game Store and Steam.
Yeah,
they take a far smaller cut of games sold on the platform.
Yeah, I was actually just about to mention that before you did. Like, I have the Epic Game Store on my computer. They also give away free games each week or each month, whatever. And yeah, I guess they do take a smaller cut. I don't really know what the cut is. I've never actually looked into it.
But I mean, I know for a fact it is a smaller cut than Steam. I just don't remember the actual percentages. So this whole thing, the way it kind of played out is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. So last week, I guess it was now? Yeah, last week. Jesus. Epic added the ability to buy like Fortnite bucks or whatever the fuck they're called, in-game and also through the app stores. If you buy them in-game though, you bypass the app store and Apple doesn't get their cut, and that's against Apple's guidelines.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly how it's set up in Fortnite, but basically, like, Apple, anything on the eShop, they don't want you spending, or the eShop, the App Store, they don't want you, if you're buying something through that platform, it's got to go through the App Store. So Apple removed Fortnite from the App Store, as did Android. It's against both of their guidelines. The thing is, with Android, there are other ways to install apps that don't require you rooting your phone. Like, any Android phone you can install from different sources. There's a little checkbox. And most phones have, like, their own, platform store anyway. Like, Samsung has a store. I think LG's might have one also. So, like, they're not as concerned with Android because it's only the Play Store that's affected. But with Apple, after it got pulled down, they immediately played a video in-game in Fortnite that is a twist on the Apple 1984 commercial, the Super Bowl commercial from the 80s. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like, get an Apple, not a PC sort of commercial. It is quite possibly one of the most famous commercials of all time.
Yeah.
They did their twist on that, but it was anti-Apple.
Yeah.
It's almost like they knew exactly what was going to happen when they did the thing, so they had this whole marketing campaign planned out before they did it, just so they could pretend they were being oppressed.
Yep. So that goes up basically immediately, and they also file a lawsuit against Apple. So they had all this shit lined up. Like, they knew what was going to happen. They knew what their next plays were. The fact that they used an Apple commercial from the 80s for the 13-year-olds playing Fortnite, fucking confusing. Like, I get it. It's a very popular commercial, but how many kids on Fortnite that are playing on a fucking phone do you think actually know what that commercial is?
0.
Like,
yeah.
That thing hit for nobody except for the people that read about it after the fact. So I know I was watching Giant Bomb. Jeff was streaming the Tony Hawk demo, I think it was, the day that all happened. And he started his stream. It was last Friday. That's right. He started his stream trying to watch that in the game, but the game, like, it had already ended in the game, so he just had to go to YouTube and, like, watch it in YouTube instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy that, like, Epic is, like, going this way. And I mean, Apple has some anti-monopoly stuff against them right now, especially in Europe. So that is probably helping their hand of, like, pushing them. It's like they hold a monopoly on their app store. Like, if you don't sell from their app store at what they say you're allowed to, they can just ban you. Like,
yeah, that's like been one of my biggest issues with Apple in general, is that, like, you're not allowed to get, you have to root your phone and hack your phone to get apps and things from outside sources, whereas, like, Android, you can just automatically do it. Like, I think it's like the Amazon App Store on my phone forever, and they give away free games each week, whatever, and it's fine. But, like, if you have an Apple, the Amazon App Store is not a thing. You cannot get it.
You actually can't buy Kindle book. So you might not actually be able to buy like, there may no longer be an Amazon app on iOS.
Yeah.
You may have to actually go to, like, open up Safari and go to Amazon.
Yeah.
But there at least was not, you can't buy Kindle books, at least, from the Amazon app, if there is still an app.
There's only one entity that's a bigger crook than Apple. Tom fucking Nook.
I mean, he gives you an interest-free loan.
But, I don't know, Tom Nook's a fucking crook, man. He is an absolute crook.
He's a douche, but he does give you an interest-free loan.
Yeah, and he makes you do all the work on your island to pay off the debt that you're doing. Like, to pay off the debt that you get. Like, he makes you work on his island and pay him more, and then he sets up your house. Let's do the basement fucking last, because then it's more expensive to build a basement last instead of doing the foundation fucking first. What an asshole you are, Tom Nook. Why didn't you build the basement first?
Well, because you expand the house like 3 times. How can they build the basement when your house keeps growing?
Because you build the basement first, and then build on top of it, because if you build the basement after, you have to, like, dig underneath, and it's more expensive and harder because you can't get the machinery down there.
They don't use machinery, they have Rossetti. Well, what else the fuck is that guy doing?
He is in nothing in this game. Apparently you get his tune when you use the help.
Yeah. That's basically the only place he is.
Yeah. Yes, I just called it the helpicopter.
But yeah, so Epic is trying to knock Apple down a few pegs. Though Apple also just announced, or it was revealed, that they're worth $2 trillion.
Yeah.
So, like, the fuck is anyone going to do?
It's not going to do much, but, like, go for it. Get them. Like, they suck. Apple sucks. Like, I looked up the split that Steam takes and Valve takes. And Epic's take on the Epic Game Store is 88 and 12, so Epic only gets 12%. Fucking Steam is 70-30, and then they'll drop it to 75-25 after you meet a threshold. And then they'll drop it again to 80-20 after you meet another threshold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
I think
fucked up.
The important thing to think about here is, like, had Epic launched a game store 5 years ago, they would be doing the same thing. But they released Fortnite and started just printing their own money.
Yeah.
So they're now in a position where, like, they can kind of fuck with other large entities, boost themselves, and, like, I'm trying to think of a way to put this. I really doubt that their actual intention is to help the little guy, but even if they're just saying it, like, in a roundabout way, like, they are. Because they are giving people a platform for a better deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, they're also making money that way, and they don't need money as much as they did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Same reason that they changed all of the Unreal license stuff. Like, cause now it's like, you have to sell like 1 million copies of a game before you have to pay them anything for Unreal.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome for any indie developer, because, frankly, like, your average indie game probably isn't selling 500,000 copies, let alone 1 million. And if you're one of those kind of breakout ones that sells 1 million copies, you have the money then to, like, buy the license for Unreal. Because odds are you were a team of 5 people. That seems to be how that goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving along from that, Rich, you started some Ring Fit adventuring.
Yeah, I just got Ring Fit. I bought it like 3 weeks ago, but my first copy got lost in the fucking mail, so I had to wait an extra week and a half.
At least you were able to get another one, because they've been really hard to find.
Oh yeah, because I found it on Target and I bought it, and like it was supposed to have showed up last Saturday or Sunday, and it was like, no, the previous Saturday or Sunday. So not this one, it just passed, the one before it. And it didn't show up, so it was like Tuesday that I like tried contacting UPS, and like I sent like I chatted with them. I didn't get them on the phone. And they're like, oh, well, you have to contact your seller then, or you can put a claim. I'm like, well, can't you help me put a claim? You have all my information. No, like, you fucking suck, UPS. So then I contacted Target, and they're like, all right, well, do you want your money back or do you want a replacement? I'm like, a replacement if you can do it. I know it's high demand. They're like, good news. We have a copy. It'll be in the mail. You should get it in a week. So I finally got it this weekend, and it's fun. I like it. My current issue is I have these fat fucking legs that the leg strap slides down on because they're so fat and always change its size whenever I'm doing things. But one of the cool features is it has a what's called a multitask mode, where if you keep your Joy-Con connected to the Ring-Con and you just press the stick button in, it'll activate, as long as your Switch is nearby and asleep, it'll activate the Ring-Con, and you can just do arm workouts and like squeeze it and pull it, the Ring-Con, and it'll like count towards things in game, but it's also like you're sitting there working out while you're watching TV or something like that. Yeah.
I picked one up. I actually saw it in stock at Target and grabbed one. Erica used it a few times so far.
Yeah.
It seems neat.
Yeah, my goal right now is to 5 days a week with Tuesdays and Thursdays off. The game itself is fun. It is a lot more exhausting than I'd expect. I haven't been able to get it to actually read my heart rate. Every time I tell it to check it, it's like it wasn't able to. So I kind of just stopped and gave up. But like the game's silly and it's fun. I wasn't expecting that much jogging and running in place, and that is like killer for me.
Like you're just not good at it, or
it's just jogging. It is hard work, and then jogging in place is even worse. Like, I would much rather jog than jog in place, because you actually get that kinetic motion that helps you jog, whereas jogging in place, you're just up, down with your legs. And it's like, if I had a bigger living room, I might actually end up just jogging in a circle when I'm playing this game, rather than just jogging in place.
Well, have you hit the points where you have to go upstairs or through water, where you actually have to do like high knees?
Water and high knees suck. That's where the leg Joy-Con starts to fall, is because I have to raise my leg up so much and it just like stretches out my fucking thigh, and then when I lower my leg it retracts and the Joy-Con starts to drop, because it's like a stretchy fabric that you have to wrap around your leg, but there's only so much tightening you can do with it before it actually, like, it's just unhelpful. Like, I don't know if there's like an extender I can get to help with that, or I just have to deal with it. Maybe just get different pants that'll help it grip to it or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, wear shorts and put it like directly on your leg. That's like the pants are probably the problem.
Yeah, I'll have to try that today, because today is one of my workout days. I was really only able to make it 20 minutes in my first go. Like, it took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get through the first area, but like quote active time, because that's all it counts, was give or take about 20 minutes. But there was like a 5-minute intro movie, like cutscene to like intro into the game. But it's just, I think it's really cool for people who, especially right now, when you just don't want to leave the house, or go to public places, or there's no gym. Like, the ring is a fucking tension band. It actually takes work to squeeze this thing, or to pull it. Like, it is not just something that, like, is flimsy. It is very, like, the more you squeeze it, the harder it gets. Yes, I know, that's what she said.
Plus all of the, cause, like you said, it's all running in place, and running in place gets you moving through the level, and then there are enemy encounters throughout the level where, like, you do different workouts that involve the ring or what have you to attack the enemies.
And based on how well you do the workout determines how well how much damage you actually do. So, like, I have, I think it's the leg lifts, where you have to sit down on the ground, hold your the upper body back, and put your legs in a flat, and then pull them up to your chest, and then bring them back flat. When you do that, I can't do it because I'm so fat it holds my legs from actually getting to my chest. That, like, I deal minimal damage. But then when I'm doing things like the yoga position, where you get in a chair position and have to hold the ring out in front of you, and then slowly raise it to over your head, I can do that, like, in-game, no problem. But in real life, I'm like, oh my god, this sucks. But yeah, it keeps you active, it keeps you moving, and if you can find it, definitely get it, especially if you're someone who's been like me, especially during quarantine, where, like, you don't feel comfortable really going outside until either late at night or really early in the morning. You don't want to go to public places. You need some working out to do because you've just been sitting on your ass for 6 months. Or just you are very self-conscious about your body in general and don't feel comfortable working out around people. This is the perfect thing for you if you have a Switch.
Yeah, and the cost isn't that bad either.
No, $70 for the Ring-Con, the game, and the leg strap, which is, I think that's a great price. I think actually it might have been $80. It's $79.99, so it's $80 or something like that.
Like, that Ring-Con is sturdy. Like, I realize it's really just a Pilates ring apparently.
Yeah.
But, like, it's sturdy, like you said, like it actually takes, like, strength to push and pull it and everything. Like, it's got real tension to it.
Yeah. Like the box itself is like a 12 by 12 box. It's not a small box. It's a big ring.
Yeah, and it's not just like an elastic band, because you figure it recognizes all the things you do because the Joy-Con actually clips into it and syncs to it the same way it does to, like, the Switch itself.
Yeah, so it recognizes you squeezing and pulling. So there's electronics within there that recognizes the squeeze and pulls. The motion controls in the Joy-Con recognize your motion while playing the game. And also the game is not just the main RPG mode. There is a rhythm mode, which I haven't even tried yet. There is just a generic workout mode that you can set up. Or a quick workout mode if you don't have a lot of time but want to get a quick workout in. There's tons of this stuff in there for you. Like, my arms and my legs were feeling it the next day after I did my first workout. Like, it is good work.
I mean, I agree, so.
Yeah. It's, I can't speak more highly about this thing, and I've only played it fucking once. Like, and I'm excited to actually play it again tonight. Like, I'm like, alright, my schedule time is 9:45. That's when my Switch will remind me, so I gotta be ready to play by 9:45, 10 o'clock. Let's get PodQuest done. Let's make sure I eat early enough, get enough to drink beforehand, pee before, like, get changed.
You pee during.
No, you pee before.
No, you just, as you're working out, you just pee yourself.
See, I have carpet, so I don't want to do that. If I had, like, not carpet, or, like, waterproof flooring, maybe I just wouldn't care, but
No, you put paper towels in your pants.
I even, because of my self-consciousness, I ordered a, quote, it's called a travel dock for my Switch. It's $75 from Genki, and it was a Kickstarter for a while, and it has been officially released. And it is just like a little dongle that you plug into the wall, and you plug a HDMI cord in, and the USB into the Switch and into the dongle, and it's like you don't. If you want to bring your Switch with you, going on vacation or whatever, you don't have to pack up your full dock. It's just this little thing that plugs into the wall. I should be getting that in a few days, so I'll let you guys know how that is when I actually get it.
Why did you get that?
Because I'm self-conscious and don't want my roommates seeing me work out, so when I get that, I'll set it up upstairs in my bedroom.
Won't that be worse, though? Because then they're going to feel and hear, like, all of your running in place and your grunting and panting?
They're not going to see it, though, and that's fine. I am physically, like, self-conscious about, if you're hearing me work out, you're hearing me work out, but I'll have it turned up loud enough to where they can't hear it, or whatever. I want to know if they're, like, trying to take video or whatever, or take pictures and send it to the family. I don't want any of that right now.
Oh, man, I have to talk to Jensen.
No. No. Look, she's mad at me today, so she might actually do it.
Oh, that's even better.
But Cobb, you played Tony Hawk?
Yeah, so they released the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 demo. There were two ways to get it. You could pre-order the game, or you could go get a Tony Hawk burrito from Chipotle. I just pre-ordered the game because apparently that burrito was kind of bullshit.
There's a Tony Hawk burrito?
Yeah, they released like a special edition burrito at Chipotle.
Is it still available?
I don't know. Probably.
I think the burrito's still available, but I think the demo codes were the first 2,000 people to buy that burrito nationwide.
Yeah, I'm more so meant for the codes.
No. It's just pre-order now. But I mean, the game comes out in 2 weeks or something. It comes out on the 4th. It's the same day as Avengers.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mentioned before I was watching Giant Bomb. They streamed it a little bit, and I wanted to see what it looked like. So I watched that, and it looked really good. So I looked up the game. It was only $40, so I pre-ordered it because it's fucking Tony Hawk, and it looked like Tony Hawk. And it plays exactly as I remember Tony Hawk playing.
Nice.
It 100% does not play exactly like the first two games because they have all of the later moves in there, but like it feels right. So the demo is it's a 2 minute 30-second just free skate in the warehouse. You can only use Tony Hawk. There's no you can't like upgrade skills or anything like that. Like it's all just base. And you can do it over and over again. Like you're not limited to just 1 2 minute run.
Did you guys have the original PlayStation magazines?
No.
Drew?
I think for a little while.
Okay, Eric got it, and you get it. It was a monthly PlayStation magazine, and it came with a demo disc each month. It was either monthly or quarterly. I think it was monthly.
A lot of those magazines came with them.
But it came with a demo disc and like a plethora of demos. I'm pretty sure that's the same exact Tony Hawk Pro Skater demo that was on the demo disc. It was a 2 minute and 30-second round in the fucking warehouse.
Yeah, no, I mean that was the original demo for Tony Hawk.
Yeah, so that's like that's kind of like brings back even more of the nostalgia. It's just like they just did the same demo just in the up-res version or in the like remade version.
And they have there are 4 tracks that play, 2 new tracks, 2 original tracks. One of them being Superman, so they got that right.
They had to have gotten Superman. If they didn't, they'd be wrong, and I'd say sell it.
So you can actually they have like some settings and stuff you can do in there too. So you can set it to either Tony Hawk 1 moves, Tony Hawk 2 moves, or just default, which is moves through Tony Hawk 4.
Okay.
Which includes like your reverts, your manuals, your wall plants, lip tricks, acid drops, all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So it's much easier to chain things together. It also has like the double tap for grinds and for manuals. So if you're like doing a grind, you can double tap the face buttons and you will change the grind you're doing.
Okay.
And the same thing for manuals. You can double tap the face buttons and you will change up the different like flatland stuff you're doing.
Okay.
Like you'll do like a handstand or like a pogo, and there's different variations for like those things once you're in them. So like it is much easier to combo high, which probably means they are like odds are the challenges like your level challenges to like unlock the next one, assuming they play through the same way they did in the original. Anything that requires like a high score is definitely going to have to be bumped up a bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the original Tony Hawk, you couldn't really chain moves together. Like,
no.
the most you could do is like a grind to like maybe like a kickflip.
Mm-hmm.
Cause there were no reverts, there were no manuals. So once you landed something, like that was it. Like you couldn't just transition into something else.
Yeah.
Now you can, like, without any problems. They also have, they have some mods you can turn on. So basically like cheat codes from back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's more of them that like unlock with the game or not, but you can turn on like perfect balance, no bails, always special, stuff like that. So if you just want to like literally just kind of go around and just fucking do whatever, you can.
Yeah.
You can. So you can start the game by doing a 900 off of that first slope that leads into the actual warehouse.
Yeah.
And just land it every time because there's no bails.
Yeah. Is there low gravity?
Nothing like that. It was just like the balance and the no bails and the always special and everything.
At least in the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I always loved I think it was Tony Hawk 2, they had the moon level. And if you put on low gravity in the moon level, you had like double low gravity because the moon level already had low gravity as it.
Yeah, there was always some cool stuff like that. Physics are definitely different in this too. You're a little more floaty, I feel like. Like I remember in the original Tony Hawk, and I mean it's been 20 years since I played the original. It was not easy to land a 900 early in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to have just perfect timing of hitting it at like the peak of a ramp and landing where the ramp was low to actually get that full rotation in because you just didn't have the height for it.
Yeah.
In this one, I was just hitting 900s off of fucking anything. There's that, so between the half pipe and the one like wall quarter pipe, there was that little like taxi cab ramp kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I hit a 900 off of that. Just
all right.
with no mods turned on.
Okay.
So like certain things are definitely easier, but like that's how that game got. Like by Tony Hawk 3 and 4, you could hit some of those specials much easier because you were so much not lighter, but like the physics were just like, hey, you get a lot more air when you jump.
They may have also given you like a fully upgraded character because if I remember correctly, in some of the Tony Hawks, like you would be able to increase like their air time, their speed, or whatever. They might have.
It doesn't seem like that. I didn't actually look to see if the stats were upped, but I remember like the stats like you got like better balance and stuff like that, and like your balance isn't great. Like it decreases super quickly.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean I'll find out on the 4th when the game releases.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the case or not. They also a couple other like just kind of neat things. The game looks really really good. HDR actually has an impact that like is noticeable, which is cool. There's actually a few places where because everything's higher res, you can see parts of like the outside area that you would have never been able to see in the PlayStation version. So it almost looks like you may be able to open up the warehouse and like have additional areas to skate. Kind of like in the hangar in the first level in Tony Hawk 2, where there were the two different walls that if you grind it on the right things, it would open up like the hidden area, like the hidden like pipe area, and then the actual outdoor hangar part where the helicopter was.
Yeah.
Cause like there's one part where there's a seam and a door on that one little ledge, and like you can see light coming through the seam. So it's either just amazing attention to detail, or that's going to be something that like if you wall plant off of it or whatever, you'll be able to open that up and like skate outside a little bit. Like maybe there's like another half pipe or a pool or something like that out there. What else was in there? They recorded more skater noises, so it's not just the same every time you fall. You can tell it's Tony Hawk's voice, like saying like cool or not shit, but like grunting and like making sounds when you bail and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they do this cool like hologram like fade out, fade in when you do bail. So like you fall, and then like everything kind of goes staticky on your character for a second as they like pop back up. Like there's not this slow animation of them standing up. They just kind of like go staticky for a second and are like ready to go again.
Okay.
End of the level is weird because when the time ends, if you're not in the middle of a combo, you just stop fucking dead. Like
that's what happened in the old games.
Was it? Because this one seems so much more abrupt. Maybe because it's just so high res now.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you were not in the air or like on a rail doing a grind. It just ended.
Yeah, I believe you. It's just I haven't played a Tony Hawk game since Underground. Yeah, since Underground. I think I may have played like two. You know what? I played a little bit of the HD remake from 360, like from like 2008. That was absolute trash.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't remember them being that abrupt because it's one of those like you will stop almost horizontal if you're on a ramp.
Yeah,
and just stand there like kind of horizontally. It's fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
But it does. It feels like Tony Hawk. Like it is what I remember Tony Hawk feeling like, and it makes me hopeful that the rest of the game feels like that, and that they pull off that sort of reminiscence and have the challenges that you remember having, like collect skate, find the secret tape, the high scores, like the destruction stuff, like knocking over the crates or going through the mall things, stuff like that. But it's a couple weeks till I'll find out if it actually has all that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rich, this week you got to try the Avengers beta.
I did. And
I'm sure you liked it and are now going to buy it.
There's a lot more customization than you said there was, Cobb.
I said there was customization.
Well, no, you were just like, well, it's just changing your final abilities. It's adding combos and stuff to your attacks. That's the customization.
Oh, no, I said that I didn't really dig into any of that.
Yeah, well, like, that was one thing that I was hesitant about was based on what you said, but I did play it, and I put probably a good 10 hours into it.
Wow.
It's a multiplayer game, and there was a lot of shit to do in it that they had available. I did not, but I think there's another beta this weekend. If I have a chance, I might try to.
This weekend's the final, like, open for everybody beta.
I didn't finish what you have to finish to get, like, the beta add-on stuff for the main game, which was doing all of the challenges in the combat room, whatever it is. The danger room.
The danger room. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember the actual name of it. But
I don't remember it either.
There's like 3 or 4 missions in there that you have to do all of them, and you get something special for having the beta and playing it. One thing I was bummed out about is I didn't get to play much as Thor. I was hoping.
Yeah.
I really wanted to try out Thor more than just in that initial level.
So I didn't do the extra strikes. Because I wasn't having fun, so I didn't want to keep playing. Thor didn't unlock with those, right?
No. After you clear everything and open up the war table and not have any of the extra missions, Thor doesn't unlock.
I know it was like Black Widow and Hulk and Miss Marvel, and did Iron Man unlock?
Yeah, it was Black Widow, Iron Man, Hulk, and Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel plays really fun. I like her play. She also has a healing ability, so she's technically the healer in the group.
So you played online?
I did. I played with some people sometimes.
If you popped her special, does it heal your party too?
It's if they're in the vicinity, it's supposed to. Yes.
Okay, I never had a chance to try that, so I wasn't sure.
Well, I mean, you could have done it with your NPCs as well.
So I was never near the Hulk in a fight to try it when I needed it.
You only made it through that first mission.
What first mission?
Or that first mission where you're her and the Hulk, where you play as Miss Marvel, and then you play as the Hulk, then you play as Miss Marvel, and then the Hulk, and that's it.
No, I played through the point where you unlock the war table and can go do all of the strikes or whatever they're called.
Yeah, so you only beat Abomination.
I beat Abomination, and I went to... So the first strike that you have to do before you unlock the danger room. Like, I unlocked the danger room.
If I remember, unless the beta was different for you, once you beat Abomination, you go back to the Helicarrier. And
then you have to go get the thing for Jarvis so that he can... The neural uplink or whatever.
Right, that extra mission. I forgot about that extra mission.
That's the one that I tried to do, and it kept telling me I could do it online, but every time I tried to do anything other than start it, it just crashed it back out to, like, the main screen. Like, I couldn't change characters. I had to play as Miss Marvel, which is fine. I didn't want to play as Hulk, so I was okay with that. Mm-hmm. But, like, character selection kept crashing it out. Trying to matchmake kept crashing it out, so I ended up just having to play solo on it.
Oh, yeah, no, I played solo through all of that stuff until I opened the full war table, which was after that.
Yeah, I got to that point, and I wasn't having fun with it, so it was one of those, it's like, alright, I got a taste for this game, it's not for me, so...
I don't see how you didn't like the Hulk's combat. The Hulk's combat was great.
I liked Miss Marvel, and I liked Thor. And Black Widow. Actually, Black Widow was fun, too.
Black Widow was so cool to use. You shouldn't have been able to use Black Widow.
I played the intro.
Oh, right, that's right, the intro. I really see, that's the thing. I wish you had gone further, because I feel like you would have liked the game more once you've gotten more of it more unlocked.
But, like, keep in mind, like, they have a big, like, I know you can play everything solo, but they have an emphasis on playing with others. They very much have, like, that Destiny system of, like, you know, changing out your stuff every time you get something better, and, like, that's just not the sort of game I want to play.
I mean,
and, like, most of the character combat wasn't fun to me. Most of the combat wasn't fun. Like, it was pretty generic.
I can't agree with that, and we can agree to disagree with it, but I thought the combat was cool, especially how each character had their own different, I can't remember the name of the bar, but each character's bar was different.
Whereas, yeah, like the hold the triggers and you start using it.
Yeah, like the Hulk, you had to attack to accumulate it, and then you can use the rage, which deals more damage, and you recover health whenever you get hit. Or like Black Widow, the more attacks you did without getting hit, the higher it accumulated, and I think you got stronger the higher it was.
Miss Marvel, like, I never figured out what hers charged, but it made her, like, she just got bigger as long as you were using it.
I think hers just charged over time, and yeah,
that's what it seemed.
She could just get bigger in general, and then Iron Man's was based on the abilities you were using, so if you're hitting triangle, the stronger attack so much, it depleted it more. And you would have to, like, punch and fight it would have to regenerate before you could do more of that stuff. It also took away from his guard. I liked that, like, every character had their own specific kind of guard and different guarding abilities. Like, Hulk had to have rage bar in order to be able to parry. And as you upgrade him, you can get abilities in his tree that it increases how much rage you have or how fast it accumulates, or like guarding or parrying at the right time will actually increase the rage more or heal you more. I feel like the upgrading for each character was just very minimum from what they showed and how much will actually open up in the end game. Because I'm pretty sure they said that you could change your L1, R1, and both abilities as well. That you should be able to.
I think you can. I think I saw that you can change the individuals. I don't know if the super stays the same or not.
But like you should be able to, which that wasn't available in the beta itself. You had your three supers, and then like what you were upgrading and what you were using your level up abilities for was like added combos hitting square, or for instance the Hulk, if you went up to a smaller character and held square, he would grab them. And some of the upgrades that you could purchase were based on him having characters in the hand. Could you have one? Could you have two? What did triangle do? How much damage it did if you had them? Like it changed up like a style of play for him. I didn't have any issues with connectivity. There are parts that like you had mentioned last week where like you needed a certain character's ability to do something. I only experienced that in one mission. And I was playing solo, and it was side stuff. It wasn't main mission stuff that you needed that character's ability.
So that was not something that I had happen personally. That was a thing I saw people post, like I saw multiple people post similar scenarios where like they were doing the strikes solo, and because they didn't pick the recommended character, they picked the character that they wanted to try. They had a few areas where like they couldn't get through something because like you were supposed to play as the Hulk and you were supposed to use like the thunderclap to knock the door open, but the character they were playing as didn't have a move that did the same thing.
See, I think they might have just misunderstood what was like. I didn't see these articles, I didn't see these posts because like you should be able to play through this game with whatever character and use whatever character unless it is a Hulk specific mission, which I thought there was one Hulk specific mission, but it ended up being a team up mission. But like to break doors down, any character as long as you hold triangle should be able to break the doors down. So that shouldn't have been an issue. There are instances where like as you're exploring the map in each mission, you could go and do side quests, and you need Black Widow to hack into a computer. So you need somebody playing as Black Widow to hack into a computer to get a treasure chest. Or you need Iron Man to hack into a computer or something to summon like a harder enemy to fight and get new items.
Which, that's where it would be nice, because that's very Lego gamey. It would be nice if you're not playing multiplayer to be able to swap.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but I agree that this is an issue, and you should be able to swap, especially since I'm using it's basing all my computer characters off of my builds. So why can't I swap to them? And why am I only getting awards for the character I'm using and not the other characters? But at the same time, I like that I'm only getting awards for my character and not the others.
But so,
because if I'm maining as Hulk, I don't want to be getting Iron Man equipment. But I do wish that, if I went to a spot that needed Iron Man, I could switch to him and do it.
And not only that, but you figure, so if I were to play this game, I wouldn't ever play with people. Like, I'd solo everything. And if your characters are based on your build, and you have to go into a level playing as a character that maybe you don't use too often, or your secondary character is one that you've never used before, their build's going to be weaker. It's going to be a struggle to get through the level if the level is based around the character you're playing. Does that make sense?
It does, and they talked about these special character specific missions like a month or two ago. So
No, I don't mean character specific missions. I mean, like, if you go into a mission and it's like, you only play as the Hulk. Like, the Hulk is the only character that you really have, like, spec'd out.
Yeah.
And, like, you have Iron Man as your second, and your Iron Man is, like, barely past, like, base. Like, he's not going to be much help fighting enemies. If you get overwhelmed, like, you might be redoing that mission a whole bunch.
Maybe. I don't really know how it, the computers seem to be pretty smart. And I was doing missions. I didn't upgrade Iron Man at all. I didn't play him. I thought he was cool, but I really liked Hulk. That my characters, whenever I would do missions that were way above Iron Man's mission level, where he was 6, and I were doing like 15, 18s, he was holding his own and keeping up. I was getting hurt and dying more than Iron Man.
Okay, well that's at least something.
So
the AI was smarter, because at one point I got knocked out and Hulk did come resurrect me.
And I think they did balance it a bit, or they balanced the computer characters, because they do know that I'm sure they know people aren't going to want to play with others all the time, and so on non multiplayer needed missions, or like the strikes or whatever that you have to play in multiplayer.
Are there some that you have to play multiplayer?
I don't know. I don't know if there are some like the side missions, like the strikes, that aren't necessary to the story, but you can play them anyway, that have to be multiplayer or not. I just know that there are missions that are multiplayer. There are missions that are just single player, and there are missions that are single player and multi. But I think it was I think it was well done. I think it was enjoyable. I didn't have any catastrophic issues this weekend that wasn't allowing me to play or whatever.
Which is good, because it was a much larger beta. So, there was a larger pool that they had to deal with. They
were able to get things working, because it was an open beta with the closed beta on Xbox One. So it's a huge pool. Did you explore the helicarrier at all?
Yeah, I wandered around it.
This is going to bring us into our next topic. Did you see Clint's room?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
So once Captain or Miss Marvel gets her room and she comes out, you can actually walk around. You can go into Bruce Banner's room, because that's the only other character.
I definitely went into Bruce's room, and she makes a comment about it's already so clean or something like that.
You can look around at the first floor, or the bottom floor of the area, and you can see rooms that have the emblem of the characters, and above has the name of whoever would be in there. Clint Barton was one of them.
Okay, so I missed that part then. I did see if you walk over to the vending machines, Jarvis tells you that one of them used to be full of mead because of Thor.
Yes, yeah, I got that, because you get that when you're heading into the danger room.
Yeah, exactly. And they did a good job with little stuff like that. Even when you're looking for Jarvis and you're wandering through the archive,
yeah,
there's a bunch of fun little Easter eggs in there, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing, like, it's the sort of game where if it goes on sale for like $30 or less, I'll probably grab it. Because I'm interested to see the story for the most part, but like nothing about the gameplay was compelling to me. So
I mean, again, I feel like if you were to have spent a little bit more time, maybe played a little bit more with other characters, you might have enjoyed it more. Like, gotten to actually know and get the feel of the controls and each of the characters' specific abilities, you might have actually, like, enjoyed it more.
Like I said, I know the couple of characters that I enjoyed, and like, you play a good chunk of that game as the Hulk. I didn't like the Hulk at all. Like, if I never had to control the Hulk again, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and after you get through that second level, you'd never have to touch the Hulk again if you didn't want to.
I mean, that we know of. We don't know how the actual campaign's going to play.
Well, at least for the beta. And I'm sure it's like they said, there's, like, those, I don't think those like, solo missions are going to be super story mandatory.
But the story is going to bounce between characters. Like, you'll have a story mission where, you know, it's Miss Marvel, where it's Iron Man, where it's Thor, where it's the Hulk. Like, just the same way this one was, where, you know, you play as the Hulk for a little bit, it goes to Miss Marvel, it goes back to Hulk.
I think that's just for the prologue, and until you get your team, and then once you get your team, you can, it's all, like, because you're reforming the Avengers. So,
yeah, I got the impression from, like, their, like, trailers and talks and all that, like, you pick who you want for, like, the strikes, but, like, the campaign is very much like, you're gonna go into it and, like, here are the characters for that particular campaign level, you will play them when it's their turn to be played.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I am gonna get it. I have to strongly talk myself out of getting the Earth's Mightiest Edition, because I just really want it. Did you see what that comes with?
No, I didn't bother really looking.
So it's the steel game case, which all special editions come with. It comes with a blueprint of Iron Man's armor, a keychain of Mjolnir, a 6-inch bobblehead figure of the Hulk, a 12-inch statue similar to the Captain America statue in the game, a Black Widow belt buckle, and I think a Miss Marvel like pin or something like that. I'm not really too sure, but
well,
it's
that's actually kind of cool. How much was it?
Freaking $200.
Oh yeah, see, that's too much.
Yeah, like it comes with some cool stuff, and like a 12-inch figure or a 12-inch statue. That's pretty damn fucking big.
But like, it's a video game special edition thing, which means it's shit quality.
It is Square. Well, it's Crystal Dynamics, but it's also Square, and they generally because they used to do the Play Arts figures. They generally have pretty good things.
Yeah, but those Play Arts figures are $250.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. This is
so. I have personally never seen a pre-order statue that wasn't, not that they're bad, but that weren't drastically overpriced for what they were.
I mean, I'm looking at the Connor statue from Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, no, I have that too. And like, it's not a bad statue, it's fine, but it was also more expensive than I would have paid for that statue.
I don't remember how much the special edition was, but I thought it was good. You know, at least it's not fucking Capcom shit.
That's true.
Capcom special editions were always fucking garbage. Like, I got the Resident Evil 5 special edition. The messenger bag, the quote messenger bag, was barely big enough to hold the box the shit came in. And it was a small, like, polyester bag that if you put a match to, would, like, go up in flames immediately.
Well, I mean, look at the Fallout 76 bag.
Yeah,
It was a fucking nylon tote when they advertised it as a nice canvas messenger bag.
Yeah.
It was like Rigby the fucking Rhino.
Rigby the Rhino. I think I'm almost at that episode of Full House. I think
it was in the later seasons because Michelle was older.
Yeah, Nikki and Alex were just born in the episodes I'm watching,
and they were definitely toddlers because I remember them walking around with something in that episode.
Yeah, so I'm probably a season behind.
Yeah, probably around there.
A season away from it.
Look, I'm glad you like the Avengers. You know, like you said before, like, to each their own. Like,
yeah, like, agree to disagree. I personally feel like you might have enjoyed this more if you gave it a little bit more time. It is unfortunate that like you didn't like the one of the two characters that they were forcing you to play as initially. I was not expecting it to go that route where you had to play as the Hulk and Ms. Marvel first. Like, I was expecting just as soon as you got done the epilogue or the prologue to play as everyone that would be available.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just disliking the Hulk either. Like, I felt the entirety of what I played was just very meh at best. Like, nothing grabbed me. The game doesn't look bad, but it also doesn't look particularly good. Like, none of the combat felt great. It was all super generic. It's just some characters were better than others.
Yeah, and I can get that. I enjoyed using Black Widow and Hulk more than I did, like, Iron Man. But each character also plays differently, and it's dependent on your playstyle. The characters that you were essentially forced to use in those beginning parts weren't necessarily the characters that you would like using because they're not your playstyles.
Yeah, but I mean, you figure even in the bridge intro scene, like, you kind of got a taste of everybody. And, like, Thor seemed cool, but he was very much just Kratos. I enjoyed Black Widow because she was very she was very quick. Like, it was back and forth, like, shoot them with a gun, dash in, punch them. Shoot them with a gun, dash in, punch them, sort of thing. But, I was thinking about this, like, after we recorded last week. It's if they had done, like, a character game instead and were able to, like, focus on just one character, I feel like they would have made a much better game. But because they're trying to go big and have very different play styles for so many characters, like, it hurts the overall gameplay.
See, I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot by what I'm going to say, but this is Crystal Dynamics we're talking about. They made fucking the Tomb Raider games. A single character, like, it would have gotten dull fast. I feel like what they did here to be able to swap in.
I liked the first two Tomb Raider games.
I thought I was fine with the first Tomb Raider game. The second one I thought was garbage, and the third one I don't even care for.
They didn't make the third one.
Well, I still don't care for it.
No, I was just pointing out. They made the first two, they didn't make the third one.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the first two.
I did not. I hated the second one, and from what I see, a lot of people weren't really fans of the second one in general. It's just like, I feel like the route they went with this, making it a lot different than, like, what you're essentially used to seeing with a Crystal Dynamics game. Like, where it's multiple characters, where it's a more action-y based game and less, like, single solitary storyline. I feel like they went the right path.
Yeah, like, I don't think it was, so it's not so much that it was a bad idea. I just feel like I feel like the characters would feel better if they had been able to focus on a single character rather than trying to, and it's not just like the 5 or 6 that are playable off the bat. It's any additional characters. Like, they're already in the midst of working on them, so they're gonna fit an archetype, but they're also going to have probably their own moveset. So it's that, like, making sure that, like, one character can play like another character, but also be unique, and that's hard to do, and it's hard to do and have it work well. So, like, the fact that they've made a game that at least is average at the worst, because, like, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't just a straight bad game. It wasn't broken. It didn't frustrate me to play it. I just didn't have fun with it. And, like, the scope they're going for, like, it didn't suck. Like, they didn't completely fucking butcher it. So that's something, at least.
Yeah. I will say one last thing on the game. I really hope, like, I hope the story is super compelling, because as you did the missions throughout the war table after you unlocked it and it was fully open, a good number of the areas you went to and the like labs and stuff that you went into you tended to, like, revisit the same place in a different story.
I kind of got that impression that that's how it was going to be because I didn't go into any of them, but I kind of moved around to, like, the open, like, missions on there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this all feels like it's gonna be very generic, and it gave me that, like, Destiny 1 feeling of, like, going back to, like, the Russia level over and over and over again.
But the thing, like, that they do differently about it is you're not yes, you're going to, say, for instance, in Destiny, you would go to the Russia area, and you would constantly wander the same three, main areas. This is, like, you're going to the foresty area, but you're doing a different mission in the forest area, but they're just reusing the same, like, map layouts, but you're in a different area.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the other thing is, like, and I don't know if the enemies got a little more varied in some of those missions, but at least, like, the stuff you play in the bit of story you go through, it's all just a lot of, like, non-memorable robots, other than when you fight Abomination.
The enemies did get varied. If you did the war room or whatever it was, the danger room, if you did more of those, you fought more and more harder enemies. There was one of the missions I was doing where I was just constantly getting attacked by exploding fire robots. Because, like, they take the inhuman powers and put it into robots. That's the story for this game. And so, like, they would just come and just blow up right next to you. And you're doing a mission where you have to stand there at a point and just have Jarvis hack into the area, so you have to protect this little region, but as things are blowing up and leaving fire around there, it does get a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something, at least.
Yeah, like, there's a bunch of different kinds of objectives in each mission. It's not just go in and like, yeah, it's gonna generally boil down to go in and get this thing and the mission's over. But it's like, well, how is it gonna happen? Like, one of the missions is you go to a point and, the more Avengers that sit there, the higher the Jarvis starts hacking in, and if less Avengers step out, but more of the enemies step in, they start putting in a program to stop him from being able to hack. There's other objectives where there's multiple points throughout the map, and again, similar to, like, the one singular circle, these are, like, you have to take over the more that you take over at a time, the faster he starts to hack, but the enemies are going to be coming in waves and taking over those as you try to stop them. Trying to think of the other, like, mission objectives. And then, yeah, I think they were just generic, like, kill these enemies objectives. And one of the missions on the war table is you have to go destroy an arc reactor that AIM built using Tony's designs. That you have to go in and blow up the 3 or 4, like, consoles for the arc reactor while also being attacked by waves of enemies.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll have more to say about it once the game actually releases, so...
Yeah, I have 17 days to use PTO, so I took the week it comes out off. So I'll have a good number of hours in it, and I'm probably going to at least get the exclusive deluxe version where you get to play 3 days early.
Okay.
So I should have, like, a day or two to talk about when we record the week it comes out.
Okay, cool. So this is Avengers related. There were some data mines that happened that show potential characters for the roster.
Yeah.
So there were actually 2 separate data mines. The first one included characters like Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Kate Bishop, War Machine, Spider-Man, and they're listed as challenge cards, which the challenge cards in the game are, like, the passes for each hero that scale as you, like, rank them up and all.
Yeah.
And it's assumed that they appear in the game if there's a challenge card for them. The second data mine included Ant-Man, labeled as Ant-Man 2, since we already know Hank Pym is in it. That's probably Scott Lang.
Yeah.
So presumably Scott Lang, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Vision, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Marvel, Captain Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, Winter Soldier, and Scarlet Witch. And then there was also some villain data that was found in the second one, for Frenzy, Ultron, Red Hulk, Deathlock, Vindicator, and a Monica, which is probably an AIM scientist Monica.
So that is actually, she was in the beta, or she was referenced in the beta in the Hulk mission, in one of the Hulk specific mission, or not one of the Hulk specific mission after you open up the war table. There's a mission where you have to go and they're working on, AIM is working on gamma tests and gamma radiation tests, and they mention Monica, and she actually talks to the characters while you're in there.
Oh, okay. So there's that character then. But, like, Red Hulk would be cool to see in the game. Deathlock is neat. Ultron is Ultron. some of the heroes, they have a nice mixture of heroes that, I mean, not quite a nice mixture, but heroes that are from like MCU, like that people would be familiar with.
Yeah.
As well as characters that people aren't necessarily going to know, like Mockingbird. I'm assuming Marvel is going to be like classic Captain Marvel and not some sort of like reskin of Marvel from Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with like Kate Bishop, like she hasn't been in anything yet. Quake is, if you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you would know like that Quake, but if this is more of like a comic accurate Quake, they're a very different character.
Well, I'm assuming it's probably the same with Mockingbird, because Mockingbird was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in like season, 2 and 3?
Yeah, and maybe 4. I can't fully...
No, because she never came back. Remember, like, her and Hunter left, and then Hunter came back for the one episode?
Well, yeah, they were supposed to have their spin-off series, but never got it.
Yeah. But, like, that's a lot of characters. There are a lot of similar characters, so...
Yeah, I like that they're, like, pulling sort of B-lister characters. Like, and I'm not saying Kate Bishop is a B-list character in the comics, but she's not a very known character in the public. She-Hulk, I guess you could say War Machine, and in even Mockingbird, Quake. Like, characters that if you only watched the movies and nothing else you wouldn't know of, I like that they're pulling them up.
Yeah, exactly. And they at least fit the models of existing characters. Like, Mockingbird is definitely going to fit a similar role to Black Widow.
Yeah.
Quake, to an extent, too, most likely.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier would fit kind of like the Captain America vibe. Kate Bishop, like, we already know Hawkeye is coming, so, like, Kate Bishop would fall in line there.
Hawkeye should be coming, unless he's dead, and that's why he's not on this data mine.
No, I thought they revealed Hawkeye in the last War Table.
Oh, did they? I can't remember. There's a picture of him on, when you go see Bruce's, room, you can look at a picture of all the Avengers, and he is in that picture. And like I said, there is his room on the helicarrier as well. I don't remember them, confirming Hawkeye, but maybe
it was at the end of the last War Table from 2 weeks ago. It was the week before the beta.
I don't think I watched that one.
Probably not. I didn't either, but I saw the news afterwards that he was revealed at the end of it.
Okay.
But so segueing away from Marvel, there's some DC stuff to talk about. So last week we talked how Warner Media in general had a ton of layoffs, including a third of the editorial staff for DC Comics, almost the entire DC Universe staff. DC got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
This week they announced a bunch of cancellations. So they previously announced that Harley Quinn, Batgirl, Red Hood Outlaw, Batman and the Outsiders, and Justice League Odyssey were all coming to an end in November-ish. They've now added Hawkman, Hellblazer, which is the Constantine title, Teen Titans, Young Justice, and Suicide Squad are also ending. And nobody knows what's happening with Aquaman. Current writer Kelly Sue DeConnick confirmed that her last issue is November. So she isn't writing anymore, and to her knowledge, nobody else is picking it up after her. So nobody knows what's happening with Aquaman. No confirmations or anything. This is unlikely due to all the layoffs, though. Comics start getting produced far enough in advance that 2 months is definitely, or 2.5 months, I guess at this point, is a little too close to correlate one for one.
Yeah.
This is probably actually because of their 5G plans from pre-February. So 5G was the weird thing where it was Generation 5. They were going to have a crisis event, and the 4th generation was going to end, and then they were going to age all of the heroes and have, legacy characters take their spots.
Well, now we know where Corona came from.
From where?
From friggin' DC. 5G.
I hate you. Just everything about you. You're the worst.
Look, it made Droo and Snortle.
But, yeah, so, the whole 5G thing would have seen, Bruce Wayne get too old to be Batman, and Lucius Fox's son, who is Batwing, become the new Batman.
Okay.
Dan Didio, the former co-publisher, was, the guy behind that. They fired him in February, and a few months after that, they kind of just stopped that whole train.
Yeah.
But a lot of these books were probably scheduled to end at that point. So I imagine that come like January, there's going to be a relaunch of all of these books with new creative teams.
Yeah.
Because like, if you look at some of the titles that have been canceled, like Batgirl, Red Hood, Teen Titans, Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, like, those books they're all pretty, like, established, like, there's always an iteration of those books kind of on the shelves for DC Monthly. Like, there's spots here and there where, like, you know, maybe you'll go 6 months without a Teen Titans book and then they launch a new one. But, like, most of these things have been around for decades. And I mean, in a lot of cases, I think all of these titles have run pretty much uninterrupted other than relaunching at new number ones since the New 52 in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't expect most of these books to stay canceled, but it's still going to leave, like, a weird fall for what DC has left, especially with the cuts to editorial, because, like, they're not going to be able to launch too many new books, which means, like, their roster is going to be, like, 3 Batman books and 2 Superman books and some random other titles.
Yeah. DC is not doing good.
I mean, they're not in a great spot at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where that all ends up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting at least. Like, it sucks to see if they are potentially going under. Like, they are a big company. I would be shocked if they actually fully go under. I'm sure they could find a way to come back after everything settles. They've just been such a staple in comic books in general, and, like, they have some very iconic characters and heroes that, like, it'll suck to see them go, and I doubt it's going to go that way, but they are just not in a good place right now, and it sucks.
No, they're not going to go out of business. Like, if Marvel and DC didn't crumble in the 70s or in the 90s when things, like, really took a dive, they're not going anywhere now. I mean, they're owned by Warner Media. Warner Media has plenty of money to keep them afloat if they hit hard times. And, like, they've made some dumb decisions. Like, they moved from New York to Burbank a few years ago, to a custom-built office that they are probably just hemorrhaging fucking money for.
Oh yeah.
If they got into a position where, like, money was an issue, they would just sell that building and move into something else.
Burbank, California is fucking expensive.
Yeah, and especially Southern California.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think the cuts were necessarily money related because it was Warner Media across the board. It's just the DC parts of it are so front facing, especially to what, like, we follow with, like, the movies and TV and everything.
Yeah.
That it's just more obvious for that stuff. I think it's more like restructuring. Like, DC and Marvel have both had periods in the past where, like, they've laid off most of their editorial staff and the whole line suffers for a few years before sort of coming back and, like, getting their footing again.
Yeah.
Going along with the DC stuff, though, DC Universe, it's confirmed that the original content's going to go to HBO Max at some point.
I'm not surprised. Like, I'm not surprised that they're basically shutting that down. Like, with...
So, there are no plans to shut it down. That's the weird thing.
Which, I mean, I guess, like, it doesn't really cost much to keep it running, I guess, maybe?
So, I think the one problem is they offer a year subscription. So, until they stop offering a year subscription, they can't shut it down because people do sign up for it. But you figure Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn are already completely on HBO Max. We've said that a few times.
Yeah.
Jim Lee, who is the CCO for DC, said in an interview that DCU is not going anywhere, but it's going to be changing. He also said that HBO Max is the best place for the DC original and the best value for all the content it offers.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't know when, like, Titans and Young Justice and stuff are headed there, but at some point, they're both going to be on HBO Max, and that means it's completely pointless to sign up for DC Universe. Because at that point, like, you don't really get much else from it. Like, Batman the Animated Series, I don't think that's on HBO Max. Like, some of the cartoons, I don't think you can get on HBO Max at the moment.
Wait, can you get comics on DC Universe?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I just looked it up now to see what the actual pricing was for the year.
It's like $6 or $7 a month.
That's actually pretty cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so it is not, it's not weekly books, but they do have a ton of books that you can read on there.
Yeah. Like, I was just scrolling through and there's, like, Event Leviathan, Batman Universe, number 2, where it looks like he's fighting Green Arrow.
Yeah, it looks like it's like the books are about a year out because they're all. I'm looking at the app too. New comic issues are from August of last year.
Yeah.
So they're probably about a year out for like what you can read. And then they have old stuff too. So like, you know, you can kind of jump all over the place. They have like actual runs of books, stuff like that. But I was actually just curious I don't know why I opened up DC Universe when I wanted to actually look at HBO Max. So I know a lot of the animated movies and the DC movies are available on there. I don't think any of like the animated series are though. Like Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, stuff like that.
Feel like
the movies are. So like Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero is on here. Doesn't look like I forgot the name of that one movie, the animated Mask of the Phantasm. But like Batman Beyond Return of the Joker's on.
Yeah.
So
Killing Joke is on here.
Teen Titans is on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean there's definitely some stuff that you can only get on DC Universe for now, but I'm sure
it's all going to be on HBO Max soon. Well, all meaning
all the originals at least are going to HBO
yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
Which I mean that is honestly why a lot of people are signing up for it. But like at this point, like Titans is the only thing left.
Yeah.
Like Stargirl is 100% CW now. Swamp Thing got canceled and it's on, and they're going to replay the first season on CW. Everything else is on HBO.
What would be cool is if CW gets good enough ratings from Swamp Thing that they decide to revive it.
That would actually be cool. I don't expect that to happen just because the production halted so long ago.
Yeah.
Like it would be such a rework to get that show back up and running.
Yeah.
But it would still be neat if it did happen.
It would be.
Anyway, the last little bit of DC news, this weekend is the DC Fandom online event where they're going to be announcing a ton of stuff. Two of the big things are going to be, they're going to fully reveal Rocksteady's game and they're going to reveal the WB Montreal game.
Okay.
Which WB Montreal has been putting out a bunch of like weird little like cryptic teasers and like a scavenger hunt sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like whatever the game's going to be, it's going to involve the Court of Owls. And Batgirl might be a main point of it.
Okay.
So that could be cool. But there's also panels for comics, for the movies. So like there's going to be a panel for Shazam 2, for Wonder Woman 1984, for the Batman, for the TV shows like The Flash and all that are returning. And it's all free. Like it's just online. Like you just stream it.
Yeah.
So that should actually be cool. And it's running Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the last thing that we have is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale happened last week.
Oh boy. That was a finale.
It was good. I liked it.
I liked it a lot. It was emotional. It wrapped basically everything up that was left open in the entire series. It basically explained that there's a multiverse in the MCU. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, the thing that bummed me out the most is they never found a way to tie it back into the MCU like proper.
And I think like that it is explained to not be tied in as it is now an alternate universe.
Yeah,
as of certain I was trying to justify it. At the point where they were brought to the future, that's when the universe split into 3 separate universes, I guess you could say. One where they never had existed, one where like Daisy destroyed the world, one where they went to the future and came back and saved the world, and then continued on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and one where Daisy never destroyed the world.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, didn't they like confirm at the end of that one season that it wasn't Daisy that destroyed it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be what's his name? The general
Nathan
guy.
Petrelli. I can't think of his name.
I can't remember his name either. But I think it was actually really him, kind of, sort of. I don't fully remember.
Well, because he became Gravitron, is basically what he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think he was actually, like, had he succeeded, he would have been the one that actually broke the world, but everyone just assumed it was Daisy.
Yeah. And that season, I think they did reference Thanos during that whole season, because that's when Endgame came, or Infinity War came out. But they didn't, like, from that point, they diverged, basically.
Yeah.
Like, from then on, like, you could say it was side by side until Thanos and Infinity War.
Yeah, because there was never a snap or any of that stuff. Yeah. Time just kept going for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which I will say I was kind of, and this would have been like awesome, but also depressing. Either before the time jump or I'm trying to think. Either before the time jump and then they did the time jump and would have came back, or after the time jump if some of them would have like blipped away. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought it would have been really cool if like they did that to tie it all together into the same universe. I will say they missed an opportunity for a perfect line.
Which is?
When they were having their virtual meeting, and Daisy and Coulson were talking about like what Coulson's going to do, one of them should have said, I think Coulson should have said, I think I'm going to go check out Tahiti. And then Daisy say, I hear it's a magical place.
So they did that already at the end of 2 seasons ago. Coulson and May went to Tahiti.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, I kind of wish they would have done it like they went to Tahiti, but they didn't actually say like, I hear it's a magical place. Like,
I feel like they did do that because the season 5 finale, they didn't know if they were being renewed, so they played that as close to like, this is a series finale if if we don't get renewed. Because
this wasn't another season, this was a continuation from the previous season. Like, it was the second half of the previous season.
No, this was a whole new season.
No, it was actually season... So...
This was season 7, last season was season 6.
I have to double check on Hulu, because I'm pretty sure Hulu said that this was season 6.
No, this was season 7. Hulu lied to you.
Because these 2 seasons were shortened seasons.
So maybe Hulu got it weird. Oh, so I just Googled Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and apparently they cut a reference to Infinity War.
Okay. Alright, and you're right, it was set for... I could have swore it said season 6. It was season 7.
Yeah, because after season 5, like that, season 5 was the one where they go into the future and then stop the world from falling apart. And like you said, that was the one that would have lined up with Infinity War.
Yeah.
Season 6, they got like a late renewal for, filmed it, and then it aired like a year later. And then season 7 had the same thing. They got the renewal for it as the final season. It all filmed last summer, and then it just released now.
But I thought it was good. I like how they brought Fitz into it finally. Like, it sucks that Ian Casticker or something like that, whatever his last name is, he didn't get more time because he is a great character. But
yeah, I mean, he was basically my favorite character on the show, like, pretty much the whole way through it.
Yeah.
And he was he was in 1 episode this season.
Yeah, it was 1 episode. But, like, I like how they tied it in. He got another job. Like, he couldn't do 2 shows.
Oh, is he on something else right now?
I'm pretty sure that's why he was on something else, or he was filming something else. Because again, they weren't sure that they were gonna be. He signed on to it beforehand. That's why I could have swore they filmed these back to back, but they released them separately.
They weren't filmed back to back, but they were filmed like close together. Not close. They weren't filmed close together. They were filmed. So season 7 was filmed while season 6 was airing.
Okay.
Because it was filmed last summer.
So he is on a show called, or a movie called Overlord, and a miniseries called Us. I could have swore I read that he was like filming something else, which is why he couldn't be in the season fully. That's why they only were able to get him for the last episode.
Yeah, I don't know. It might just not be on IMDb or something, but yeah, I was bummed that he wasn't in it more, but like they used him well.
Yeah.
And I felt like that whole story, like, and him having to try and get Simmons to remember everything was, like, done very well.
Yeah. It was... I love what they did with, like, the whole time travel, how they didn't necessarily... They did travel through time, but they traveled through time to make a new universe. And then they started traveling through space, basically.
Yeah, like, they traveled to an alternate timeline to stop things from happening, to then be able to go back to their timeline and stop, like, the actual end of the planet. Like, they stopped the end of the planet in 2 different timelines.
Which, like, based on our discussions from last week with my issues with time travel, like, that doesn't break anything, that doesn't cause any paradoxes. Because they weren't necessarily jumping between time, they were jumping between universes at the end of it.
Well, I mean, they call it 2 different timelines. Like,
they call it 2 different timelines, but, I mean... It's essentially 2 different universes. Like,
I mean, that's everything. Like that's time travel. Like when time creates a new timeline, that's a separate universe. Like that's multiverse.
we're not going to get into that this week. I'm just saying this is why I didn't have an issue with it, is because it was an alternate universe, basically, and they confirm, because they said like we're going to travel through to back to our time or to our universe through and this, I like that they brought in the microverse or whatever it was.
Yeah,
the quantum realm. That's what it was.
And like they had like Fitz wasn't in the season because he was the tether back to their main timeline.
Well, he wasn't really the tether. He just knew everything and knew how to do it.
No. At one point, Simmons says Fitz stayed behind because he was the tether back to this timeline. Like he kept the like him being there and in that pod, and then pulling him through with that device that Enoch left the pieces for, was how they kept like the path open to get back to their timeline.
I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't see it that way when she said it. I saw it as like he needed to stay then because he needed to stay then and there so that they couldn't stop us from wrecking everything. So like I saw it differently than the way you interpreted it, I guess.
I mean, but if Fitz didn't have to be there to keep a link between the two timelines, then there's no reason he couldn't have been with them. Like he didn't need to be in that thing.
They needed to be separated so that the Chronicoms couldn't stop them. Like all like they explained it. All of like the time, like anytime the Chronicoms won was because they got to Fitz and killed him first, because he had the thing to where he could see the future or see like all the different branches of the future.
Yeah, he had that device that lets him see the timeline.
So like they needed to kill him otherwise, so that they could stop them from knowing the percentages of what's going to happen. And that's why like he was the bridge. He needed to stay behind. And we needed to send them on this wild goose chase so that we could create this alternate universe to get the one thing that will save us, Daisy's sister, from an alternate universe that doesn't exist on our universe.
Yeah, and I don't know. They did a very good job of wrapping all that up, though. Like,
yeah,
like having Deke stay behind.
Yeah.
Because like he puts it, like he's the only one that could. Like he doesn't belong in their time to begin with, and he knows how like technology works. Like,
yeah.
Sousa couldn't have stayed behind and actually made any of that work.
Yeah, and like I had been like annoyed with the series because of time travel and how is Deke still existing, but because of the whole confirming multiverse, they didn't take Deke out of the future. They took Deke out of an alternate universe. That's how it's justified.
You need to stop justifying time travel.
No,
just accept it.
No, there needs to be justification for it. Look, just watch the Time Machine. You'll understand.
That's one piece of fiction. There are dozens of time travel fictions that set different rules and standards.
I'd have to look at other I don't. There's physics. It's physics.
No, it's fake. There's nothing real about it. Time travel is not real.
There's rules.
It's fiction. They can do whatever they want with it.
There's rules. There's rules for robotics. There's rules for time travel.
But robots exist. Time travel doesn't.
Anyway, the series finale. Oh my god, why can't I talk right now? The series finale for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really liked that bar scene at the end.
Yeah, I thought it was like bittersweet because it was like, Fitz told them, like, a bunch of people told them that like that mission was the last time any of them would be, that they would all be together.
Not necessarily even that mission. That instance then and there was the last time they were all going to be in the same room together.
But, like, they at least ended it with, like, oh, because everyone kind of went to go do jobs, like, in different places.
Yeah.
But they're all still connected.
Fitz and Simmons are no longer part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Coulson's trying to still figure himself out. Mac is, I guess, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Or at least, like, a director level.
Yeah. And then Daisy, her sister, and Sousa are all, like...
they're sword. They're basically sword.
Yeah, they're basically sword.
Not even sword, because sword was really just, like, planetary defense. Like, they're like an actual, like, traveling sword. Like, they're exploring the universe. They're Star Trek. They're the Space Federation.
Yeah.
And then, like, May is an instructor now. Yo-Yo is just an agent, like a field agent.
Yeah.
It was nice, like they wrapped everything up. And they also allude that Simmons is still doing work. She's just doing it, like, on the side. Whereas, like, Fitz is like, I've had a fucking enough of this.
Yeah.
I've died a few times, like...
Yeah.
I was nearly drowned a couple of times.
I love how they all, like, had their death count, and Coulson's like, I died, like, 7 times, guys. I literally died and know it, because I'm a robot.
I think Fitz and Coulson are the only two that can really, like, compete.
Yeah.
Like, they're the only two that died multiple times.
Yeah.
Man, tell people to stop being so loud.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, that was a good scene. Like, there were a lot of good scenes throughout the episode. And like, it gave everybody kind of a chance to, like, have a final moment too. Yeah.
And it was nice to see that Daisy and Coulson had the final moment together. Because were they the first two to be seen on camera?
I don't think so.
It was Coulson and Ward were the first two of the main cast to be seen on camera. Maybe Fury or Maria Hill was in that scene as well.
I don't think they were in that. They were in the first, like, episode, but I don't think they were in, like, the opening of it. I was a little bummed, and, like, this is just, like, full season. It would have been cool if part of their time travel got them to a closer modern day thing, where they could have brought in some of, like, the other, like, fan favorite characters that have, like, died.
Yeah.
Like, cause, like there was Trip, there was What's-Her-Face that was in, like, a couple episodes that died unexpectedly, that, like, Hand. That, like, you thought she was...
Lucy Lawless, her character, right?
Yeah, right. I forgot that's who was playing her. And Ward, for that matter, because he was a big part of the first 3.5, 4 seasons.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see them bring Ward back, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't, because, like, it would have been difficult for them to bring them, unless they recast him as a younger actor like they did with Garrett.
So I don't mean, like, bring them back. I mean, like, have, like, a scene where they had to go to, like, the Triskelion in 2012, in this alternate timeline where, like, some of these characters would have been there and they have to, you know, get around without, like, raising suspicion.
But also at the same time, it's gonna be weird to know what 2012 in that timeline would have been like, because the Triskelion had already been up since the 60s, whereas in our timeline, Triskelion was practically new in Winter Soldier.
Was it actually confirmed it was new in Winter Soldier, or did it just seem new?
It was when I say practically new, I'm like maybe a couple of years, but like I don't think it was like I think it was something that was built not between, because Winter Soldier was right after Avengers, wasn't it? No.
So I mean, it was a year and a half.
Yeah, so maybe between then, or like it started to get built before then. I don't think it was.
You know, that, I mean, a building like that would take a lot longer than 2 years to build.
But like, I don't think because they even mentioned it, like the Triskelion, that's not supposed to be up for I think.
But so they mentioned that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so they mentioned that in a later season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was post Winter Soldier, where it had basically been knocked over.
Well, no, in this season, they had mentioned, like, the Triskelion, it's the 60s, it's ahead of schedule or something like that. Like, that's not supposed to... I'm trying to look through, like, any of the wikis to see if, like, it says this.
So it says in 2020 it was rebuilt and became S.H.I.E.L.D.'s headquarters once again after the war against the Chronicons under Mac. So he is the leader now.
Yeah.
Construction of the Triskelion began sometime before 1989. In that year, in the Triskelion... Oh, yeah, that's right. At the beginning of fucking Ant-Man, it's the Triskelion.
Right, yeah. So it's before 1989, and they were in the 60s.
No, that was the 80s when they showed the Triskelion. I don't remember them showing it in the 60s.
Well, no, in the 60s was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't remember them showing the Triskelion when they were in the 60s. I remember them showing it when they were in the 80s. Because they were in the 80s for like the last like 4 or 5 episodes.
That was the 80s, not the 60s. So yeah, you're right. I guess I was just thrown off because it was a different design. So I thought maybe like I don't know.
And the wiki page on Fandom actually says that S.H.I.E.L.D. moved all of their operations into it in 2008.
Okay.
So pre-Avengers, but yeah, no, it was definitely bittersweet that the ending. I'm glad that it got a proper ending. Especially, like, that was a show that was not great at the first half of its first season. Like, up until Winter Soldier, that show was super forgettable.
Yeah. Just real quick, one of the quotes in fandom, I don't know if you read it. Quote, she mentioned the Triskelion, but it's 1983. Wasn't in use yet. It's ahead of schedule. Just like Project Insight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because of all of the changes to that timeline with the Chronicoms and the Elder Malik kind of being able to push things in certain directions because he knew what was coming.
Yeah, so like a modern day, them running around the Triskelion might not have really worked out too well because it might have, like, things might have been way too different. So that they might not have ran into, like, their previous characters, or those previous characters might not have known who they were.
Well, so, like, if they went to, like, a 2012, and, like, Ward was just there, he wouldn't have necessarily known who they were, because he wouldn't have known who Daisy was at all. He may have known May from Reputation, probably wouldn't know Fitz and Simmons, because if they were agents at all, they were entirely lab-based.
Yeah.
And, like, same thing, like, maybe he would know Coulson by Reputation, but not anything else. Because that would have been, 2 to 3 years before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. started and the team formed up. But it would have been one of those, like, interesting, like, oh, like, this guy is evil. Like, do you do anything about it? Or do you leave him because you've kind of, like, fucked that up a few other times before?
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be sad not to see those characters come back at all, and odds are because they never tied it back into to the MCU, like, they're not going to pop up anywhere else, especially because they appear to be their own timeline now.
Yeah.
And it seems, at least with Disney Plus, they're definitely leaning in the like MCU related shows, so like series that tie directly into it with characters from the movies or that will be in the movies.
Yeah. I saw a stupid article from geekspin.co where they say, according to We Got This Covered, I didn't click into the article, this is just based on the Google search, Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, will make her big screen debut, or Bennett's character, Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, will make her big screen debut in the next Avengers installment. I doubt that, but that would be cool if it's true.
So We Got It Covered is all fake news. And I don't mean that in, like, the shitty, like, Trump fake news. I mean, like, all they do is post headlines of absolute bullshit.
That's why I was like, I doubt it. I didn't believe it one bit. It's geekspin.co. Like, I like, they're taking that from We Got This Covered. I kind of figured.
Any place that uses We Got This Covered is a garbage site to begin with, because I've seen one headline from We Got This Covered that was semi-accurate, and even then, like, it wasn't all the way there. But usually it's just like, oh yeah, this thing happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, no other outlet is talking about this. Like,
I saw an article from comicbook.com, and this is related to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it said, the MCU finally introduced their version of The Flash. And you click into it, and it's Yo-Yo from this current season, where she doesn't have to go back to her original position. And I comment on it, because it was on Facebook, I comment, what about fucking Quicksilver? Twice. Like, in the X-Men movies and in Avengers Age of Ultron. The MCU introduced him fucking 8 years ago.
God, it really was almost 8 years ago now.
Yeah,
I guess 5.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron was 2015, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But I was just like, this is a stupid article. You guys are idiots.
Yep. No, like, comicbook.com is also a very shitty site, but they at least get, like, the news part of it right, because they actually get the info from the people releasing it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before we wrap up, though?
No, that's about it.
Anything else either of you guys wanted to talk about?
Nah, we've been going long today.
Yeah.
It's actually not as long as we've gone before. It's only 2:14, so it'll be like 2:10 after editing.
Yeah, I know.
But you have to go work out.
I have my workout in about an hour and stuff, so.
I'll message Jensen in a minute to get her to take some video.
Please don't.
Post it on Facebook.
Please don't. Here's the thing. If that happens, I will probably never use this again. Like, that's how self-conscious I am. And, like, it gives me anxiety just thinking that you're joking about this. Like,
you're fine.
I don't want this to happen. Not right now, at least. You look like a fool when you play this thing.
But yeah, but everybody does.
Yeah.
Look, we get her to take video, we post it to the OneQuest YouTube.
Exactly.
It's a Let's Play. Come on.
No. Nope.
Come on.
No.
Let's do a Let's Play.
Nope.
Video review.
Not of this game. Of any other game, maybe. Not of this game.
Way to be a spoil sport. Anyway, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. If you want to help us out by supporting us, you can go over to patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with dollars, you can head over to your favorite podcast platform, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. Subscribe to us, rate us, review us. All of those things help. You can find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo with a Ring Fit Adventure Let's Play coming from Richie sometime soon.
It's not happening.
And you can send us emails, questions, comments, concerns to social@one-quest.com. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with more to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Fund our Patreon. Get me a GoPro, then I'll do it.
All right. There it is. There's a challenge.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.